We are. I can see you live. Look how meta this is. It's like picture in picture in picture. It's like the forever mirror. Welcome back, everybody. This is a special episode of the Goat Marketing Show. We are talking about all of the drama that's going on in the AI world with the changes of CEOs and boards, firing people, bringing them back. It's pure chaos, but the main theme we wanted to talk about today was really the importance of never being solely reliant on one particular platform, one particular piece of tech, and really the fundamentals that help scale businesses and kind of what to do to hedge your bets around that. But John, Ben, welcome back. It's been a while since we did a live one.
I can't
Yeah, and
remember the last time we were on
since
here.
we've had everyone here too.
I know. Now we do have one missing face. Exciting news: Nithya. She gave birth to a lovely baby girl. She is at home and will be home for a little over a year, but hopefully we can convince her to pop in for a little baby episode and see how the baby goat's doing. But congratulations, Nithya. We do miss you. But gentlemen, lots going on in the AI world.
It's so dramatic too. It's like such a Silicon Valley story. I think quite literally a plot line from the actual show Silicon Valley is the guy who starts a tech company gets fired from it, and then they bring him back in when they're ready to do what he wants. Is exactly what happened in the show. It reminds me of a very famous CEO entrepreneur, Steve Jobs, getting fired from Apple until he was allowed to buy it back in the late 90s. So it seems like it's exciting and dramatic, but it's definitely not new territory for the tech space.
No, it seems to be the very Silicon way of doing business. And for those that don't know, I will put a link from a Wired magazine article because they have probably the most accurate timeline of everything that happened, where it stands today. But for those of you who are not sure what we're talking about, long story short, AI fired the founders got fired from OpenAI. And it created a lot of panic in the world because there's a lot of suspicion as to why. And one of the greatest suspicions was that they had advanced the technology to AGI, or advanced general intelligence, meaning that it could essentially think and act for itself. Now, we could go deep down that rabbit hole, but we're going to leave that side of the coin to Elon and all of the experts in the AI space to deal with that. The main panic where we saw in the marketing world was how people were like, well, what's going to happen? What would happen if chat shut down? And one of the things we've been telling everybody, it's never okay. And this is probably a favorite quote from a past guest, Joe Polizzi, where he said, never build your house on rented land. So if you're solely dependent on one particular breaking point at any point in your business, whether that's Facebook or Google Ads, or in this case, the production arm would be Chat GPT, you leave yourself very vulnerable and at a massive risk if you become so dependent. And one of the things we want to go through today is just talk about some of the other advancements on other platforms, what's coming, what are some alternatives. Fortunately, ChatGPT is not going anywhere for the foreseeable future. It is still a great platform. We still use it pretty extensively. So the panic, I think, is settled for now. Ben, John, what have you guys seen or heard? And what other things are you playing with, on the adjacencies beyond ChatGPT?
I would say,
Go ahead, John.
I mean, one of the things in the panic with everything was people are talking about other companies that can do similar things, and we have like the big players like Meta, and Google, who are still doing a lot of stuff with their AI. So we've seen that. And on the other company, what's it, Anthropic, is that what it's called?
Yep.
That company, that they're still a big player in this realm. And there was actually talk of OpenAI and Anthropic kind of coming together to form one thing, which is something that I think you, Doug, predicted in a month or two ago, was these platforms kind of all melding together and this stuff becoming like spreading out through other sites and through Meta and through Google and Adobe and all that stuff. So we're seeing a lot of that happening right now too.
Ben, anything you're playing with or experimenting with outside of chat right now?
I've been so for one of our clients, what we've been trying to do is write copy using Bard and ChatGPT and compare the results that they put out, because it's the specific copy that we're writing is geographic based. And so being able to leverage, Bard's database versus OpenAI, we're trying to see, kind of A/B test which one puts out more accurate copy. So kind of diversifying the asset of generative AI by just using multiple tools like that,
What do
which
you
is good in
see?
general, regardless of whether or not OpenAI is going anywhere. It's cool to see the different outputs.
Which one's been better so far?
For like the specific one, Bard has been better just because of its access to a database that Google can provide. I think ChatGPT writes more engaging copy, but I think Bard is better at like getting the specific information that you'd be looking for from like a
Do you
search
ever have
perspective.
you taken any of the Bard's accuracy and then thrown it into GPT to make it better?
Well, that's a good point. I have not. That seems like the workflow right there.
It'd be interesting to see what happens. I'll be honest. One of the things where I see a huge risk, I've been playing a lot with automations using Make, and their strongest API integration is with Open API. So I did have a bit of a uh-oh moment when they announced it, but so far it's been pretty fun. The interesting thing to your point, John, that we still see, and I still am pretty bullish on, I think a lot of the direct platform integration is going to be where you see things win. So Google, like the entire G Suite, has AI baked into it now. They're starting to integrate workflows. I still think the biggest giant or benefactor from generative AI is going to be the entire Adobe suite. So you can already do like regenerative ag, you can do autofill in Photoshop, you can do like automate the vector creation. So I think from that side, the interesting thing that I saw this week was the number of video tools that were coming out. And like, I mean, I think one of them was Pixa. They're only in beta right now, but simple things like you can do in Adobe's Photoshop where you just do the generative fill, they're doing that with video editing on the fly and it looks unbelievable. Like adding glasses or changing like the material and the color of clothing, and it's photorealistic, which is just in time for those election deep fakes, which everybody's worried about, I'm sure. But anything new you've seen, any other frontier tools or anything?
I think the other one that I'm still using that I think is, to me, seems like the best one that does this right now is still Opus Clip with turning video content into other assets. Like, and the cool thing that they've done as well now is they've integrated scheduling directly into the software. So you don't really have to have like like a HubSpot or a Sprout Social or one of those. You can schedule, like that's how I've been scheduling a lot of our YouTube shorts now, is straight from Opus Clip. You proof what it makes, make your changes, and then you can schedule it directly and you don't have to flip back and forth between windows. So I think that's still, in terms of video clipping and stuff like that, that's the best one that I'm aware of right now. Other than that, I think we've covered most of what I've seen.
And I use AI in a way different way than John does because I'm not in like true content creation. It's a lot of just like communications or presentations. But one of the tools I've been using or do use for creating PowerPoints is called Magic Slides, which is a really great way of like putting in a document and having it spit out a PowerPoint deck for you just from that. And then you can go in and edit it and add your own images and fluff it up.
That's awesome. Do you know I can't wait until video AI gets so far ahead that just kills PowerPoint?
Yeah.
It just completely gets rid of like presentations. Just like, no, this Doug now looks like Ryan Reynolds and can talk like Will Ferrell and deliver killing humorous presentations all the time.
I do wonder how much time PowerPoint has left. There's so many better things now that you can be sharing your ideas with.
Yeah, I think you'll continue to see video do more and more. And like if you look at video content generally, some of the best video content, even social, is when they figure out how to integrate B-roll well or how to like bring up a visual. And I think that's going to be the hybrid of what normally was an in-person campaign. Like if I went and talked, I'm going back and forth. I think as you see things like Opus Clip, for example, like I think they're ahead of things, but whoever can master video and be able to automate, like bring in the infographics or the information different ways, I think that's going to be, we're really going to see big wins. And honestly, then webinars won't be so boring.
Yeah, no kidding. But you
So
know
it's
what's not going to be
once,
boring is your NAMA webinar next week.
yeah, look at that.
Demystifying
A
AI.
seamless plug. Thanks, Ben.
You're
Thanks,
welcome.
Ben. So did you finish it in the slides presentation for me there? Like,
Exactly.
that's funny. That's awesome. Anything you guys want to add before we wrap up?
Do
Just
you my question is, do you have, based on all of this drama, do you have one key takeaway for people to that they can get from this video?
I would honestly tell, like, you should always be like, you should always have a plan B for your workflows, even if that means manual. Like, having a workflow or a process or a backup of content, or like give yourself enough time if something goes wrong. And it's funny, like if you went back and told me this nice ago, I was the biggest culprit of like last minute pulling an all-nighter to get a project done, but that's just not acceptable in the business world. So while these tools make life more efficient, you still need to be planning accordingly and allowing yourselves time for plan B to happen in the event that something like this. Because I mean, Chat GPT does go down, and we'll probably see it increase in frequency as it builds in complexity. So understanding, one, what is plan B, plan C, plan D, and making sure you allocate enough time should you have to pivot or switch gears. There's no real way around it. I do think we will see some mass consolidation of AI across major platforms, which will mean some stability and less fear. But for now, with the speed that it's going and changing, like having some backup options would be worthwhile for everything. And I still do believe chat's one of the better tools. And most people maybe only use about 5% of its true capability. So I think, you got a long way to learn. And if you're only using it fractionally like that, I think you'll have some backups. But no, I think just have plan B and plan ahead and you'd be fine. Well, beauty. Well, it's good to see everybody back again. I know this was a little bit of a change up in our typical format, but I know a lot of people have been talking about the drama, and we just want to give our 2 cents on how to protect yourself from it and hopefully alleviate some of the panic. I mean, there are alternatives, but for now, I think chat's going anywhere, so you can continue on business as usual. If you have any questions, comments, feedback, or if there's more things you want to learn about AI, please post them in the comments. John, Ben, anything you guys want to add?
don't panic. It's like when Elon took over Twitter. It's not going anywhere.
And now they have AI. See,
And now they have
beautiful
AI.
things happen. Awesome. Well, thanks everybody. We will see you again next week.
Hey, everyone.